How you going there, everyone? Silver Fox here. Just about to give you a bit of a boxing preview on the rematch between Anthony Mundine and Danny Green. I personally don't like to call it the rematch. The rematch should have happened, maybe 8 years ago. So I'll call it a rematch, or Green Mundine 2, however you might like it. Obviously, a bit of a background of the fight. May 2006, after 6 years of chasing Anthony, finally Anthony Mundine and Danny Green fought at the Sydney Football Stadium. It was, me being Anthony Mundine fan, it was obviously a very good night for me to see Anthony win and win very convincingly. He was perhaps a little bit too quick for Danny, and he definitely outfoxed him. As I say, speed and power always beats power and strength. That night, Danny Green realistically was the bigger fighter. He was a more experienced fighter, as in he'd just come off world title fights. Over in Germany against Marcus Beyer, and over in Canada against Eric Luca. All at super middleweight, of course, and he had one fight at light heavyweight after that fight, and then he retired. Mind you, that fight he had was against Stipe Jews, possibly the worst world title fight in the history of world titles. Stipe Jews, who was the reigning champion, he pretty much didn't throw a punch the whole fight. It was pretty sickening to watch. Make of that what you might, but Danny Green retired after that, and he didn't really come up with the whole weight drain excuse until maybe one or 2 years after the fight, which was really surprising. And a few of his fans said, he was weight drained and so on. But and then he started to carry on about that, strictly business, I believe, just trying to get a rematch with Anthony just to get the money. So we'll talk a little bit about the card. We've got the Maloney twins, Melbourne brothers, 26 years old. Both fought at the Commonwealth Games. Pretty handy fighters. They're both on the card. I really hope that these two are sort of eased onto the international stage with the sort of capabilities of their opponents getting sort of gradually better as they fight, rather than sort of having them being a promoter's dream and fighting taxi drivers and making promoters money and then going to America and getting destroyed. We've also got Trent Broadhurst fighting Nadir Hamden on the card too. Hamden's an old boy. He's been around the traps a long time. He's had a few fights since coming out of retirement, and he's tough as nails. But Broadhurst will have too much for him, and I personally think that Trent Broadhurst has the best jab in Australian boxing, and it's very quick and it's very straight and it's very, very wicked. He moves very well. Sort of the only downfall, I believe, with Trent Broadhurst is maybe his chin can be a little bit questionable at times, but he should, regardless, come through that fight pretty well. We've got Quay Cooper on the card too. He'll likely fight probably a local pub fight or something from somewhere, and that'll be more of an exhibition bout. And we've also got Shane Tuck on the card, I believe. Shane Tuck is an ex-AFL player. He got knocked out in his pro fight, and he got knocked out pretty badly, and a lot of people jumped on him and put crap on him and that. But I feel that Shane Tuck, I don't think he had any ambitious experience before that fight, and I think he actually looked quite good until he got hit with that shot, which would have realistically knocked out almost anyone. The fight itself, look, what can you say? I think it's really realistically the two opposites, as in the way Anthony and Danny's careers have gone since their fight in 2006. Danny Green, he went up in weight, he fought at light heavyweight, he fought at cruiserweight. A lot of not so much high profile fights, but well managed fights against guys that he knew he'd beat. Some of them he dropped, he lost. But Anthony, on the other hand, he's gone down in weight. I don't know why. I personally believe at super middleweight he could have done some great things, and he could have been something great, but for whatever reason he went down, and good on him. He's won world titles at middleweight and at light middleweight, super welter, whatever you want to call it. He's made quite a lot of money. I believe he's the only fighter in history to have every single one of his fights on pay-per-view worldwide. But I think that Danny Green, with his few sort of breaks from boxing and the way that he's treated his body, he hasn't really busted himself up or anything, and I think that his body is in tip-top shape for a 43-year-old. And Anthony, on the other hand, I think his body, he's aged disgracefully pretty much, which is sad to see, because I'm a Mundine man and you want to see your favourite fighters and that go well and looking good in that. But at the weigh-in today, Danny's clearly the bigger guy. He weighed in 82 kilo, and just by looking at the photos and the clips and that from the weigh-in, he's going to be a monster in there tomorrow night, and he'll come in at least 5 or 6 kilos heavier than Anthony. Anthony will come in at probably 81 kilo, I'd say. Let's see, what does Anthony need to do to win? Look, I've got a feeling, I've just got this feeling that, Danny Green is more of a boxer now. Like a lot of fighters who come out and they're all about speed and power and knocking people out, they get to that age or that part of their career where they sort of start to study fights a little bit more and turn it into physical chess. And I feel that that's the type of guy that Danny Green has turned into. He's a lot smarter now. He's not like a bull at the gate anymore, and he doesn't waste too many punches. I've just got this feeling that he's going to come out very strong tomorrow night, and I think he's going to pressure Anthony early. I really hope that for Mundine's sake that he doesn't be a cold fighter in that fight, because when you're a cold fighter, I know from my sort of albeit amateur experience myself, when you're a cold fighter and you try and work your way into fights, you can get caught out like that. Guys coming out with an up tempo, you're trying to read a fight and they're throwing a million punches at you and they hurt. So I really hope that Anthony is 100% straight away and does not try and work his way into a fight and cold fight it. If Anthony goes well in the first 3 or 4 rounds, anything after that, I think we'd be leaning more towards an Anthony Mundine victory by points. Almost certainly not knockout. That would be an absolutely massive shock if he was to win by knockout, if he wins, of course. Danny being obviously a much bigger fighter, and Anthony not really renowned, obviously, for his knockout ability of the last sort of 5 or 6 years. But you never know. Anthony's going to come in at 81 kilos. I don't think he's ever fought at 81 kilos before. And if you had a look into the super middleweight, he had that knockout power, and he'll have a hand speed advantage over Danny Green. And I hope that he goes well. And if he survives the first 3 or 4 rounds without getting hurt too bad, he'll do quite well. Danny Green, what does Danny Green have to do to win? As I said before, Danny Green, he's going to come in 5 or 6 kilos heavier than Anthony Mundine, and he needs to come out and really apply that pressure straight away and not try and outbox Anthony Mundine. If he tries to outbox Anthony Mundine, he'll lose. It doesn't matter what sort of power he has got, boxing skill wise, when it comes to speed and so on, and ring smarts. Anthony Mundine is a lot smarter than Danny Green. Danny Green is a better boxer now than what he used to be, but Mundine is still, as in ring savvy and so on, a lot smarter. And I personally think that Anthony is going to look to pick Danny off and counter him when he can, and wait for them loose shots to come to try and beat Danny and sort of get and tag him and so on. So I think Danny Green, the key to Danny Green winning maybe is to not try and outbox Anthony Mundine. I think he's got to come out like a bull at a gate and maybe try and get Anthony out of there early. Being obviously a much bigger fighter than Anthony, he needs to fight like that regardless. I really don't see the point in bigger fighters trying to outbox more agile, smaller fighters, because anyone who's ever fought a bigger fighter, they know that you might be quicker than that at the start, and you might be maybe getting tagging them and so on, because they're bigger, they're slower, but in the end, that constant pressure and then leaning on you, you're throwing so many punches to hold them off, that eventually wears you down. And I really think that for Danny Green to win, he needs to pressure Anthony Mundine from the get-go, and he needs to try and brawl him. Being the much bigger fighter, he will win any fights like that. Danny Green is a guy in this fight who he has nothing to gain from it. The only thing he has to gain obviously is $10 million plus, and his little win inside of his head that says, yeah, I've got him back, and all my fans will believe that, see that, it's because we fought at the right weight this time, which is, any boxing fan knows that's absolute bullshit. He was a super middleweight when they fought a super middleweight. He's a cruiserweight now, and he's fighting a cruiserweight. So he's got everything to lose, but Danny Green. If he loses this fight, mate, he had the weight advantage, he had the crowd advantage, he had the community advantage, he had the sort of big fight experience before their first fight, and he got pumped. And the thing is, you can't escape from that. People who know boxing know that he wasn't weight trained at all. He was the bigger fighter in that fight. This is a guy that walks around at 80, 81 kilos and then shrinks down, and in the hope of fighting smaller super middleweights, guys that when it come fight time, he's going to be a lot bigger than, because through hydration and so on and eating and that, he's going to put on so much size before the fight. And that's why he could afford back in the day to have the power and strength game, because he was always bigger than most of the guys that he fought. This time around, he's going to have 5 or 6 kilos. He's going to have almost 100% of the crowd behind him. He's going to have the community behind him, all that fucking riff-raff, and he has got absolutely no excuse. If he does not win, he's going to have a very sad life after that. Look, Anthony Mundine on the other hand, I look at it as a boxing lover. Anthony has absolutely nothing to lose in this fight. He's going into this fight giving away 5 or 6 kilos. He's never fought at 83 kilo before. He hasn't, he's been fighting at light middleweight for 5, 6 years, maybe the odd fight at middleweight, and he's got everything to gain. Realistically, no one has really done that before, except if you're going back like 40, 50 years. In this day and age, to come up 3 weight divisions, or 3 or 4 weight divisions, or whatever the hell it is, and fight a guy who's naturally has a bigger body than you, is stronger and more powerful, mate. If he pulls this off, I personally think that that's his biggest win in his career. And he's had some quite big wins. It doesn't matter how you look at it. He's had big wins. He's had a lot of fights against lesser opponents. All boxers do that. Danny Green has too. You won't find a successful boxer in history that hasn't had fights against metaphorically speaking, taxi drivers. But I think that if I was a money man, obviously I would put money, if I was to look at it 50-50, I would put money on Danny Green, because he's much larger, and people who know the way boxing works understand that your size when you're a professional athlete in a sport like that is pretty important. 5 or 6 kilos is a lot of weight, especially when you consider the punches you're going to be taking, and it'll be interesting. If it goes 10 rounds, Anthony wins. If it doesn't go 10 rounds, it's almost certain that Danny Graham will win. But that's me, and I hope you like my preview there. Hopefully everyone sits down tomorrow night and thoroughly enjoys the boxing, and get in there, watch it, enjoy the sweet science. It's I personally started boxing at 23 years old, and I tell you what, I wish I had my childhood again. I would have started when I was fucking 5 or 6. I would have pissed football off, pissed cricket off. I would just box. It's a beautiful sport, and they don't call it the sweet science for nothing. But you'll get down there, get down to the pub, get it on pay TV or whatever, watch it and enjoy it. So that's me, Silver Fox.